Hello everyone, I am Assistant Professor Pragati Shetty from Department of Microbiology, KG Somaya College. In this online lecture, we will continue the topic that we have started in the last online lecture, that is bacteriophages. Right? So till the last online lecture, we have completed the study of lethal mutations and the conditional lethal mutants. Now in this lecture, we are going to study the deletion mutation. Okay, these are a type of mutations and the mutants. Okay, so now what is a deletion mutation? So as we can relate from the term deletion, so here in this case some genetic material or some portion of a gene segment is getting removed, right, is getting deleted from the original, from the native genetic sequence DNA, and due to which the cell will then get mutated. Right, now this mutation can show phenotypic as well as the genotypic changes. Right, this is called as the deletion mutation, in which some portion or some part of your gene or DNA or the nucleotides basis will get deleted from the original native gen sequence DNA, and due to which now the cell will not have that properties, right, that were present earlier. Now that has got removed, and due to which therefore cell becomes mutated. It will show certain new, it will develop new properties, right, or it can exclude the earlier properties, and due to which there can be, if a cell is got mutated with the help of this, by this phenomena deletion mutation, then if a cell A is growing on a plate, okay, on a E. coli B strain, now it is got mutated, then it may not able to grow for the E. coli B strain, that is this host. Why? Because the cells or the proteins which are responsible for, you can say, for multiplying or for lysing that cell, that bacteria, is now not present with that DNA, right, with that sequence. It is got removed due to the deletion mutation, and so this type of the changes can be present, okay, that can be appear due to this deletion mutations. So now with the help of this deletion mutation, the Benzer, okay, the Benzer studied the R2 gene. It is a gene named as the R2 gene present in the T4 bacteriophage, okay, to test some hypothesis that we'll see again later on. First we will just focus on what he did, what is his work. Okay, now first the Benzer studied the R2 gene of the bacteriophage T4. Okay, now what he did, now as we discussed, the virus, what will virus give on the plate? It will give plaques, not colonies. It will give the clearance zones. Right, now you can see in this two Petri plates, you can see, now first one, it is a plaques on E. coli B strain, okay, and the plaques on E. coli K strain. Now E. coli B and E. coli K strain, he used the two types of the culture of the E. coli as a host for this bacteriophage, and he inoculated the bacteriophage on the both of the plates. Okay, now what happened, you can see various, the different kind of morphology in both the plates. Right, now permissive host E. coli B strain, in the E. coli B strain we can see the small plaques as well as the large plaques, and therefore we can say the R2 minus as well as R2 plus phages can grow in the E. coli B strain, okay, E. coli B, and whereas in case of the E. coli K strain we can only able to see the small size plaques, which are the mutant plaques. Okay, and therefore restrictive host range is for what? Is to whom? E. coli K. Right, host range is what? That a particular virus can infect this much types of the bacteria. So restrictive host range with the mutant R2 plus, it is very restricted that it grows only on the E. coli K strain, right? In that, which recombinant grow? R2 plus recombinants grow. Okay, now he got this results. All right, now after this, okay, so you can see, you can study the plaque morphology from this table also. Here are E. coli strain B, E. coli strain K, and the T4 fat strains. So we have R2 and the R2 plus, R2 present on the B, right, as well as, okay, so R2 is present on the B and giving the plaques, that is the large and the round, and R2 plus is also present on the B, which is small and the ragged plaques. Okay, now R2 minus, or we can say R2, are not present on the K strain, right? The large ones are not present on the K strain, whereas the R2 plus strains are present on the K, E. coli K, giving the small and the rigid plaques, right? So these results we got from the first step. Okay, now we want to recombine the two R2 mutants of T4 fudge. Okay, now we have selected the first one. You can see the R2 mutants here in the table, right? So that now we selected for the next steps. Okay, because that is mutant, right? The large plaques are the wild types, right? Now after this, the recombinants of two R2 mutants, okay, of the T4 bacteriophage. Now R2 mutant 1, you can see here, and the R2 mutant 2, these are the mutant bacteriophage of the R2 gene. Okay, bacteriophage with the mutant R2 gene and another mutant, okay, of this bacteriophage containing the R2 gene. Alright, then you can see here R2 mutant 1, R2 mutant 2, pink color and blue color. So they have then inoculated in the media, in the lawn of the E. coli B cells. Okay, now you have to observe carefully. Okay, now we have inoculated this in the E. coli B cells. So definitely the cell will produce daughter cells, right? The bacteria will grow, right? Now what will happen? Sorry, the virus will grow, the virus will multiply, virus will produce plaques, right? Now what will happen? You can see the progeny of the viruses. We studied in the lytic cycle, right, that viruses will produce new virus particles. So similar way, right, we have the progeny of these mutants. Now we are recombining two various mutants of this R2 gene. Okay, therefore we must get some various types of the mutations after recombining this, right? Now first type we got R2 mutant 1, wild type. These are two wild types. Now remember, in case of the plaque morphology we studied, in that also after the cross of that wild or the parental ones, in the result what we got? Two cells of the parentals, right? Two parental cells as it is we got, and along with that two recombinants we got. So in similar way here also, after crossing of these two mutants, we got two parental cells, okay, two parental mutants, mutant 1 and mutant 2. Then we got double mutant, okay, double mutants, which means the genes that are responsible for mutation in the R2 type 1 and genes responsible in type 2. These both genes come together in a one progeny, and therefore we are calling it as double mutant, right? Because both the mutant properties are now coming into one. That is why it is calling as the double mutant. Okay, then now this is very interesting. After recombining these two types, the fourth one result we got is the wild type, which means the mutation in some cases can retain if we recombine these mutant cells and we grow them on the wild bacteria, that is the E. coli B strain, like the E. coli B strain, then it can take the genes from that cell, okay, and it can retain its original activities, and it can be again the wild type phage. Okay, so this Benzer want to study that this is possible, whether the after recombination whether we can get the wild type phages or not. So he got the wild type R plus recombinant, that which getting again converted into the wild type one. From the mutant it is again converting back into the wild type strain. All right, now so in total on we are having our 4 progenies from the bacteriophages crossing. Okay, now what the Benzer did, he inoculated again this 4 progenies onto again E. coli B cells. Okay, and along with the E. coli B, he inoculated it onto the E. coli K12 lambda phage also, okay, which is a mutant of E. coli B. All right. Yes, so now you can see in case of the E. coli B cells, all the 4 progenies are able to grow on the wild type E. coli. Okay, the mutants also, as well as the recombinant that we got, the double mutant, as well as the wild type also. Wild type will definitely grow on the E. coli B, original native strain host, right? Now look into the E. coli K12 strain. Now you can see only wild type mutant of the R2 T4 bacteriophage is only able to grow on the E. coli K12 lambda phage gene, which is a mutant of E. coli, right? Why now it is able to grow? Because now it has got the wild type properties of its bacteriophage. Okay, now it is a wild type R plus bacteriophage. Okay, and that is why it is only able to grow on the E. coli K12 lambda strain, whereas the other mutants don't has the genes to grow on this mutant strain of the E. coli, because the mutant is lacking some of the genes, that is the E. coli B12 is lacking some of the proteins or the genes which are essential for the growth of this virus mutants also. But in case of the wild type R plus, it is very much able to grow in absence of that genes also, because it has it in its own genome, that genes which are responsible for growth, right? And therefore this R plus wild type of the bacteriophage is only therefore able to grow on the E. coli K12 lambda strain. Okay, this why we did this, to confirm, to check whether really we got this type of mutants or not, and then we got successful results as expected, right? Now again we incubated that plate at 37 degrees Celsius to study the plaque morphology. Okay. Now the plaques of the 3R2 phage types and of the R plus phage type. Okay. So the mutant R2 phage morphology is, we know the large, right? The large and the, yes, you can see here R2 is the large and round, right? And the R plus strains having the small, R2 plus is the small, right? Therefore, in the E. coli 12, we got only small one. That means it is definitely the plaques of R plus phage, right? Now this test is also can be called as the spot test. Okay, that is the Benzer spot test, right? Now with this test, what he concluded, he got the result that after recombining the mutant strains of the bacteriophage T4, we can get the wild type R plus phage. Okay, with recombining the mutants we can get wild type. Okay, now, and therefore Benzer's conclusion was that the Benzer studied 3000 R2 mutants showing nucleotide deletions at various levels of subdivision and determined that the R2 region, that R2 gene region that is present in genetic structure of that T4 phage. So the R2 region is subdivisible and into more than 300 mutable sites by series of nested analysis, that is ANOVA testing, and the comparisons with the standards, right? And therefore he concluded what, he actually studied 3000 such mutants, R2 mutants. Okay, in the previous example we just saw the type 1 mutant 1 and mutant 2. Similarly he studied the 3000 mutants, 3000 R2 mutants showing nucleotide deletions. Okay, and then he got various varieties of the mutants as a progeny. So what he concluding that at the different levels, so these deletions are present at different levels of subdivision. Okay, at different level of its subdivision, its growth, and determine that the R2 region, gene region, is subdivisible, right? And that is why only the deletions will be at various subdivisions, right? Because the region is subdivisible into more than 300 mutable sites, that is can mutate in the more than 300 types. Okay, and this has been tested using the ANOVA testing and the comparison with the standard results. Okay, now we have the hypothesis. Okay, so he has also experimented to check this hypothesis, that we'll see now. First, gene is a fundamental unit of structure. Okay, or wrong, gene is a unit of structure, fundamental unit of structure, or nucleotide is a fundamental unit of a structure. Okay, so he studied this also. Now we will see that. Okay, so first, gene is a unit of structure or not, we will look into that hypothesis. Okay, now you can see the mutant 1, mutant 2 inoculated E. coli B cells. Then we got double mutant and wild type along with the mutant 1 and the mutant 2. Okay, then yes, so you can see here similarly that we just saw in this earlier slide. This is the same diagram. Okay, you can see the plaques on the E. coli B and the plaques on the E. coli K. These are the small, these are the plaques of the R plus, that is the wild type. E. coli B, there is the mutant R2 plaques, right? So mutant 1, mutant 2 crosses, it will give wild type and it will give double mutant. Okay, Now the gene order is can determined with the help of recombination frequency that we just studied in the earlier lecture, right? That how we can calculate the recombination frequency. So if the recombination frequency is high, then genes are present at very far apart. Therefore, the time and the distance is high, or we can, therefore the cells are getting more time for mutation or for recombinating with each other. Whereas if the recombination frequency, if the recombination rates are low, the value will come smaller. Then what we can predict? We can predict that the genes present in the both the cells are very close to each other, recombination, okay, for recombination, and therefore its recombination is very fast, and the genes are present at very close distance, okay. Then recombination between two mutants to give a wild type form of the gene that we just studied, right, in the earlier slides. That is the recombination. If we recombine two mutant, it can give us wild type, okay. Now after this, he has calculated the, okay, so along with the recombination frequency, we can also calculate the PFU. What is the PFU? It is the plaque forming units. If you know the CFU, that is the colony forming unit that we use to calculate, or we use to enumerate the bacterial colonies and the cells, that how much bacteria is present in a suspension or a particular sample. Similar way, very similar way, we can calculate the how much virus particles are present. So we can calculate by counting that plaques, that therefore we are calling as the plaque forming units on the B, that is E. coli B, that is the total plaques, right? And the plaques on the K, PFU on K, that is the half of its recombinants, okay. So now Benzer also calculated the recombination frequency, and he has got frequency as 0.02 centimorgans, okay. Now this represents a pair of adjacent nucleotides, okay, very close nucleotides. As you can see, very number is very small, so we can say the recombinant frequency is very high, right? Smaller is the smaller is the answer, smaller is the number, higher is the recombination frequency, and larger is the bigger is the number, lesser is the recombination frequency, okay. Now you can see in this sequence there are two sequences, okay. So here look into the last one, 25%. So this is where the genes are present at a very far distance, right? You can see the distance, that is why recombination frequency is also getting higher. Whereas look into the 10% and 2%, it is lesser distance present between the two genes, right? Two nucleotides, and therefore nucleotides are present at very close together, therefore recombination frequency is coming very less, okay. Then after this, there is a second hypothesis: is the gene is the unit of change or not, okay, or nucleotide pair is the fundamental unit of change or the mutation. So the same experimental protocol as for hypothesis 1, you can see the same protocol, right? The same that we studied for the Benzer's experiment, the same procedure is present here, okay. Now mutations from 1 where deletions, mutation for mutant 1 where deletion mutants because they did not recombine with the some other mutant and they didn't ever revert back to the wild type. Therefore we can call it as the deletion mutation, because the genes got permanently deleted from their genome, from their DNA, from their genetic material, and that is why it is not getting reverted back to the original, right? Then we can predict, or we can say that this type of mutation is must be a deletion mutation. Okay, whereas you can see the mutant 2 is converting, getting back into the wild type one. Okay, then deletion used. Now this deletion mutations plays a very very important role to map the genes. For example, if a sequence, imagine a sequence A, B, C and D. If we delete A portion, then we can map the further sequence, right? Similarly, if we delete the B and C, then we can know how much which genes are remaining. So with this way, the deletion mapping is a very very useful to map a genome of a bacteria or a cell. Okay, now that we are going to study, okay, so with this example we can study very well what is a deletion mapping and how to solve some example of the deletion mappings. Now you can see here. Now for example, say if you got a question that to determine the sequence, okay, to determine the sequence of the D1, okay, or we can say to determine the sequence of, or we can say order the genes, determine the gene order. Then now you can see here is the number of the genes, okay, 1 2 3 4 5 6. Then D1 D2 are the deletion 1, deletion 2, deletion 3, deletion 4, and the strains are the A B C D E F G. Okay, now you can write in a book that A is equal to the, now in the A we can see deletion for 1 2, right? And therefore we will give a negative sign there. Okay, okay, so the red sign is you can imagine, you can say a negative sign. Okay, it is a negative, is it a dash? The black spot indicate the deletion of that genes, deletion of that portion. So for strain A is equal to, the sequence which will be, see, the minus plus plus plus. Why? Because D2 D3 D4 on that segments we don't have any deletions for strain A. You are understanding, right? Then if we come to the B strain, in the B strain we have number 4 deletion. Then D2 similar, we have number 4 deletion. So there we can give two minus signs. Okay, minus minus, plus and plus. Okay, now similarly onto the strain C we can give plus minus plus plus, into the D plus minus minus plus, into the E plus plus minus plus, F will be plus plus minus minus, and G will be plus 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 minus. Okay, now for comparing this sequence we also have one standard table for this sequence. Okay, so we have to compare with that sequence. So for say if the A is equal to plus minus plus plus plus, now we have to check with that standard table that which position it is coming. Okay, so if that minus plus 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 is equal to 1, then that strain or that gene will be coming first. if the C having the sequence plus minus plus plus is equal to 2, then what will come? Then A and then C will come. Okay, so this is how we can predict the order of the gene with the help of deletion mapping. It is a very useful method to map, and it is very easy and efficient method to determine a map of a cell. Okay, now I hope you can understand from this. Okay, so again, for example, in a B, okay, in a type B, we have sequence minus minus plus plus. Okay, so if this is in a standard chart, if this comes for 4 number, okay, and the E type, that is the plus plus minus plus, it is coming on to the third type. Okay, then what will come? The first E wala will come and then the C will come. Now the sequence will be what? A, C, E and then B. So like that, the order of the gene can be determined. Okay, and that is how we can map the deletion map. We can map the genome with the help of deletion mapping. Okay, right. So now you can see here is the deletion map. Right, so how they are mapping, you can see here. So deletion mapping of the R2 region of the bacteriophage T4. Okay, so that is also got established. Okay, with the help of deletion mapping, the R2 bacteriophage genome has got mapped. Okay, so point mutations mapped to region defined by deletion mutations. Okay, point mutations in the same regions that did not recombine with each other were identical sites, and the distribution of the R2 point mutations was not random. So these three points has come after the analysis of this genome, that is the point mutations, that is the due to which our mutant is got revert to its wild type, that got mapped to the regions that are defined by deletion mutants. That means the sequence that has got deleted, it has again came back, we can say, right, due to the point mutations. Okay, now point mutations in the same regions that did not recombine with each other were identical sites. These points are for T4 bacteriophage. Okay, and the distribution of the R2 point mutations was not random, it is a sequenced mutation. So these points they have concluded after studying the deletion mapping and point mutations of the T4 phage. What is a point mutation? It is basically when a nucleotide is get exchanged, or it get replaced, or it get deleted, or it get added by some other nucleotide that is replaced. So that we called as the point mutation. It is at that defined point only. Okay, then after that, here you can see the map. Now based on the presence or absence of recombinants in any cross between an unknown point mutation and one of the deletions, we can localize the R2 mutations. Okay, we can localize the genome of the bacteriophage T4. You can see these are the maps. Okay, now you can see in the foremost layer, in the foremost segment, you have the labeled genes such as the R2. Okay, now you can see in the R2, these are the sequences of the deletion mapping. The black color region is for the sequence that is got deleted. Okay, and these are the strains. Okay, and so they have again elaborated each of that segment. You can see, right, that how they got extended this map. So this is how we can map the deletion map. Using the deletion mutations, we can map the genome of the phage. Okay, so it is basically the localization of an R2 mutation by deletion mapping. Okay, so by this we can determine what is the sequence, what is the arrangement, what is the order of the genes that are present responsible for causing mutations. So we can determine the gene orders, right? It is a very, very important procedure, right? So in this lecture we studied the deletion mutations, Benzer's experiment. Okay, then we just studied two hypotheses, and then how to map or how to solve the deletion mapping problem, how to map the or how to determine the order of a gene. Okay, I hope you understood this online lecture. If you have any doubt regarding this, then please ask in the comment section. Thank you for watching.